All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a problem that has honestly haunted software developers for decades. And more importantly, we're going to talk about the tool that finally solved it, Docker. It is, no joke, one of the most transformative technologies out there, and by the end of this, you're going to see exactly why. So, have you ever been in this situation? You've built this amazing piece of software. On your computer, it's perfect, flawless, but then the moment you hand it off to a teammate or you try to push it to a server, it just breaks. Everything falls apart. It's so frustrating, right? And that is what leads to, the most infamous phrase in all of software development. This one sentence. It points to this huge, expensive problem, the total chaos of different, inconsistent environments. And believe me, this is the root cause of countless bugs and so many delays.
So what's really going on here? Why does this happen? I mean, how can an application that works perfectly in one spot be so fragile somewhere else? Well, the answer, it's all about this complex web of things we call dependencies.
You see, an application, it's kind of picky. It's not just your code. To run properly, it needs a very specific environment. We're talking about the right operating system, the exact version of Python or Java, and a whole laundry list of specific libraries and tools. If even one of those little pieces is different, or maybe it's just missing when you move that app, boom, it can and probably will fail.
And this is the exact problem Docker was created to solve. It comes in and offers this really simple, super elegant solution to all that chaos of managing different software environments.
Okay, so what is Docker really? At its heart, it's a platform that lets you package up your application and all those dependencies we just talked about into a single, standalone unit, and we call that unit a container. This whole process is called containerization, and it's all about bundling your code, the runtime, all the system tools, literally everything the app needs to run, all into one neat, tidy package.
And that box, that container, that's where the magic really happens. Think about it. Because everything the application could possibly need is already packed inside that box, it doesn't matter where you run it. Your laptop, your friend's computer, a server in the cloud, it's going to behave the exact same way, every single time. And just like that, your application is completely portable. The "it works on my machine" problem, gone. Solved for good.
Okay, right about now you might be thinking, hang on, this sounds an awful lot like a virtual machine, right? A VM? And you're not wrong. They both try to isolate environments, but there is a crucial difference here that makes Docker an absolute game changer.
So let's break it down. A virtual machine has to boot up an entire, full-blown guest operating system on top of your main OS. And that makes it really heavy, slow to get going, and just a total resource hog. Docker containers, though, they're much smarter. They actually share the host machine's operating system kernel. They only need to pack up the app itself and its unique dependencies. This makes them incredibly lightweight, super efficient, and they can start up in seconds. We're talking seconds, not minutes. Huge difference.
So how does this all actually work under the hood? Let's walk through the process of getting your code into one of these containers, and you'll see it's actually surprisingly straightforward. It really just boils down to a simple three-step workflow. First, you create something called a Dockerfile. Think of this like a recipe in a cookbook. It's just a text file that lists all the instructions and ingredients your application needs. Second, you use that recipe to build a Docker image. This image is like a frozen blueprint of your application and its environment. And finally, step 3, you run that image. And that's what launches a container, a live running instance of your application ready to go.
And you know what the really great part is? You don't have to start from scratch every time. There's this amazing resource called Docker Hub. Think of it like a giant app store, but for Docker images. It's a massive public library of pre-built images for all sorts of things. Need a database? A web server? Chances are you can just pull a ready-to-use image right from Docker Hub. It saves you an incredible amount of time.
Okay, so we've covered the how. Now let's talk about the where. I mean, how are companies actually using Docker out there in the wild to build and ship their software? Honestly, it's being used just about everywhere. Development teams use it to make sure everyone on the team is working with the exact same setup. No more excuses. You've got tech giants like Netflix, Uber, Amazon. They use Docker to power their microservices architectures. That's where every tiny piece of their huge applications runs in its own separate container. It's also huge in data science and machine learning. You can package up a complex model in a container to guarantee it runs exactly the same in production as it did when you were training it. And yeah, it's pretty much the cornerstone of modern DevOps for automating testing and deployment.
So that brings up a really good question, right? Why did Docker get so popular so fast?
What's the secret sauce? What's the core value here that made everyone jump on board?
Well, it really boils down to these 5 huge benefits. You've got portability, run it anywhere, anytime. You've got scalability, so you can easily handle massive spikes in traffic. There's efficiency, which means you use way fewer resources and save money on servers. Of course, there's consistency, which kills all those works on my machine bugs. And finally, speed. You can launch apps in seconds and get your products out the door so much faster. It's this combination that just fundamentally made life better for developers, for operations folks, for pretty much everyone involved in building software.
The key takeaway here is that Docker isn't just some niche tool for experts anymore. It truly became the foundation for modern software. It was the catalyst that took these really complex, powerful ideas like microservices and modern cloud computing and made them accessible to everybody. It has absolutely fundamentally changed the game for how we build, ship, and run our applications.
So, there you have it. Docker came along and brilliantly solved one of the oldest, most painful headaches in software history. It streamlined everything in ways people could only dream about before. And by revolutionizing how we package our apps, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What comes next? Now that we've solved the works on my machine problem, what's the next big challenge for software deployment?